Hi everyone, today I'm going to build a dice rolling application using CSS animation and icons in React.js. Let's take a look at the design. As you can see, I'll have header, dice, and the button roll dice. When I press the buttons, the CSS animation is starting, and as you can see, the dice were changed. Let's go to the code and build our application. I launch my Visual Studio Code and have folder where I store my React projects. And now I'm going to run new terminal and run command npm create vite add latest. And now I need to provide my project name, and it will be dice rolling. And select React JavaScript, and now I can navigate to my project folder with cd command and install dependencies with command npm install. Okay, dependencies were installed, and we need on more dependency React icons, and I'm going to install it. Npm install React icons, and we'll use this dependency in our dice rolling project. Okay, and now I can run the server npm run dev and open it in my browser. And as you can see, we have auto-generated code. And I'm going to open source files and remove all this code. I can hide my terminal and remove all this code and place h2 tag with dice rolling. Let's check. Okay, we have our h2 tag, and we can adjust styles. I can remove all these styles for buttons, h1 tag, and change place items to just justify content center, and remove this page text. And from media also we can remove these styles, and we can remove all styles from CSS except root element. And let's check what we have. Okay, we have our dice rolling at the top, and now we can add more code to app, remove all this code from app.jsx. I'll leave only styles and our h2 tag. Okay, and now we can change our title to dice rolling. And as you can see, title was changed. And now I can create new component inside source files. I will be folder components. And inside this folder, I'll create my component for dice rolling. And I need dice rolling JSX. And also I need dice rolling CSS for styles. And now I can create functional component, function dice rolling, and return some JSX. Return. And for that, let's create some div with class name dice container, and add our h2 tag inside this div h2, and add dice rolling. And so I can make export our component, export default, and I need to change name to dice rolling. And now I can export this component and paste it in my app.jsx with import dice rolling, and replace all this h2 tag. I can remove it and just add my dice rolling component. And let's check what we have in our application. We have our dice rolling, but now inserting it from our component. And we can add more JSX. And let me add some div with class name dice where I place my dice. And inside this div, I'm going to add new div with class name die, and now I just add text icon one, and then we'll replace it with our icons. And here I'm going to add icon 2, save, and let's check. Okay, we have our tag, and also we need a button to roll the dice. And let me add this button, and I'll have button and with text roll dice. Okay, and let's check. We have our button, and now we need to replace these icons with icons from our package, and I'm going to search for dice icons with dice, and I found several icons, and I'm going to use font awesome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice, and for that I need to create an array of components, and we'll change the component depending on random number. Okay, and let me create array with const size, and it will be array of icons, and I'm going to import all icons, and I can select one and add this import, and font awesome dice 1, and also we have dice 2, and I'm going to copy paste this text and provide more icons, dice 3 and 4 and 5, and the last one 6. Okay, and now we can add all these icons into our array, and just copy paste. Okay, 2, 3, and 4 and 5, and the last one 6. Okay, we have our icons, and now we need some state to keep the icons of first die and for the second. And for that, I'm going to use hook use state and provide initial value. It will be our slides array and first item and const size. And as you can see, your state returns a stateful value and a function to update it. And I'm going to save it in a variable in two variables with a sign. And the first variable will be die1, and the function to update it set die1. And I'm going to copy paste this use state and use die2. And let's add our state variables die1 and die2. Okay, and let's check what I have so far. I'm going to open my app, and as you can see, we have our first icon, and we can add code to change the icons. And the button I can add on click event handler, on click, and add some function. Let me be arrow, and provide the function. It will be arrow function const arrow, and I'm going to change my icons in random order. It will be size, and use mass random, and multiply to size length, and max random returns float values, and we need mass floor to get the integer number. Okay, and now I can add this and set die1 to this size. Okay, and just copy paste this line for die2, and let's check what I have. I'm going to press roll dice, and as you can see, the dice were changed. And let's add some styles. First of all, I'm going to import my styles. import dice rolling CSS, and initially we need style for our dice container. It's a class, and I'm going to provide min width with 30 rem, and also max width with 80 rem, and also make background color white, and add padding 1 rem for all sides, and add box shadow 0.05 pixels gray, and also we can add some border radius 5 pixels, and increase the font size to 1 dot. Probably we don't need this font size. Okay, and now I can use my dice container to define class for button, and add some padding 1 rem for top left and 2 rem for left right. Okay, and we can add some background color, be some probably like black or something like that hex color, and for text we can add white color white, and also border will be none, and we can add border radius like 10 pixels, and also my cursor pointer, and increase font size. Font size will be 1.2 rem. Okay, and we can add hover pseudo class to our button with button hover, just hover, and change background color to black. Okay, and now we can provide styles for our dice container, and it will be just dice, and I can make display flex, and also I can make justify content by center, and let's check what we have so far. Okay, and I need to provide correct import. Okay, I need to change file names because I provided it wrong, and update imports, and also here to dice rolling, and save, and let's check again. Okay, we have our styles, and we need to increase the styles for our dice. And, let's do it. I'm going to open my CSS files and go to and provide styles for one die, and it will be font size, let it be 10 rem, and also we can add some padding like 1 rem, and add color to our text, and it will be dark red. Okay, and let's check again. As you can see, the styles were changed, and I can roll dice, and the numbers were changed, and now we can add animation to look better for our application. Okay, and let's do it. And for that, I'm going to add some class, and it will be die shaking, and provide animation. And as you can see, we can add name, duration, and timing. And I can just add animation and provide name shaking, and the duration will be 0.15 seconds, and I'm going to make it infinite to run all time. And now we can implement our shaking. It will be keyframes, and the identifier will be shaken. And first state will be 0%, and for that I'm going to use function transform and rotate it to 0 degrees. And I'm going to provide such a keyframe 25%, but now I'm going to rotate it to 5 degrees clockwise, and the next will be 50 degrees, and I'm going to rotate it back to initial state, and now we'll add 75%, and now I'm going to rotate it 5 degrees counterclock, and the last state will be 100%, and we are going to go to our normal state. Okay, we have our animation function, and we can apply it to our dice. And let me add this class, die shaking, to our first die, and let's check what we have. And as you can see, our die is shaking, but it is shaking constantly, and we need to shake it only when we place roll dice. And for that, I'm going to add some timeout, and let's do it. Set timeout, and inside timeout we need to provide handler, and it will be arrow function, and we'll have timeout for 1 second. You can add any timeout that you want, and we need another state variable, and for that state variable I'm going to use if is rolling. If so, when we press the button, then we will start rolling. Initially it will be false, and create our variable is rolling, and make function to change will be set is rolling. Okay, and after 1 second I'm going set is rolling to false, but initially I'm going to set it to true. Set is rolling to true, and also we can change our dice after this came out. Okay, and the one more thing that we need to change our class name and not have our constant die shaking on our die. For that, I'm going to create new const die class name and provide value. The first class will be die, and the second will depend on our state. And if is rolling true, then we can add die shaking class to our, and add condition. If die is rolling true, then we provide die shaking, and if not, then we provide just empty string. And now we can use our class name to our die container, and it will be die class name, and the same for the second die, and provide die class name, and let's check what I have so far. I'm going to press roll dice. Okay, as you can see, the dice are shaking, and the number is changing, and press again. Okay, and one more thing, then we need to change roll dice to rolling, and disable the button when the dice are rolling. Okay, and let's do it. And I'm going to add disabled, and depending on is rolling, and if is rolling, then I will have disabled button, and also add conditional rendering to our text, and check if it's rolling. Then I'm going to provide text rolling, and if not, then the text will stay roll dice. Okay, and close Okay, and let's check again. I'm going to refresh and press roll dice, and as you can see, we have rolling, and the number are changing, and rolling again. And I can increase a bit our timeout to check that the button is disabled. So I put 2 seconds, and now I'm going to refresh the page and press roll dice and press again, and as you can see, nothing happened because the button is disabled. And I'm going to return 1 second. I refresh the page and make the final testing, roll dice, and as you can see, the numbers all changed. Roll again and again, and everything is working. And if you liked the video, subscribe to my DevWeb App channel. I'll provide links to the resources, source code. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.